Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, Ranty Flat Earth, Jose, I think it's Earth Flattener, Eric, Chocolate Saiyan, Warren, Paula and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Hello.
Yo.
Hello.
Ho, ho, ho. Anthony, was there a reason you had a picture of Colin O'Brady on your, or showing up on your picture?
I haven't. It was probably a soccer account.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a question on the table at the end of, in between the shows, and I asked Paula, because it is written in a book, not necessarily have to be true. And I got a true, I think the answer is right.
Right. And on the other hand, doesn't mean it's false. You know, it's neither. Right. Writing it in a book is really beside the point. It's the message, not the medium.
Okay. So this is a matter of interpretation and discerning if it's real or false depends on what you're reading and how do you feel it, or how do I discern if it's real or not, you know?
Well, it isn't just feelings though. I think there's a thing called textual criticism, which is applied across the board to any document that you can, they're fairly reliable techniques that scholars use to determine an original writing. But when it comes to interpretation, you know how people are. I mean, you can have everybody look at a certain fossil on the ground and you'll get wildly different interpretations of what it is, because then you're in the realm of philosophy and your worldview will drive your understanding of what this is, what the evidence means. And that's no less true of the Bible than anything else, and no less true of other non-Bible documents.
Okay, because I read when I was younger Don Quixote and Sancho Panza, Don Quixote or whatever you call it, with the giant, you know, wind thingies. And I believed that in the beginning, and one teacher told me that's the real story, and people say he saw giants or whatever. The other teacher say, oh, he was on shrooms or mushrooms or whatever, he was tripping or whatever, you know. So it's a matter of interpretation on how you are presented the evidence, I mean the text.
Right, and that's why there's so many differences of opinion on just about everything. And people are fallible, and they're not all-knowing. And you can have two very rational people look at the same piece of evidence, whether it's a writing or a rock on the ground or whatever it is, and reach different conclusions. It doesn't mean one of them is an idiot or one of them has an agenda. It just means people are human and they make mistakes and they disagree about stuff. That's all.
Pretty much like flat Earth evidence right now. When we do observations and we see stuff, we've got the globe is saying one thing and the flat Earth is saying another. It's exactly the same.
Ah, there's your segue right there. So, Ranty, any chance you can bring up your time lapse?
Yeah, give us about 10 minutes now.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm just eating at the minute.
You're always eating, you are.
I haven't eaten since Christmas Day.
So, just while you're doing that, and before we go on to a different subject, so if you're in the stream and you're getting buffering, just lower the resolution. So, for the very reason that we may be playing some high quality images from Ranty's camera, I want the screen to be of a high resolution. So it's not a high frame rate, but it's 1080p, which is not the highest, but a high resolution for some people with a rubbish internet connection. So just lower it to 720 or 480 or whatever the next one down is, and hopefully that should solve the problem.
Okay. So everyone else aside from Bible literalists was really quiet on here during the last show. Is everybody here a creationist, or I mean, how can you handle this? Because for me, it's frustrating.
Not at all.
Well, you are. I know you are.
Well, when you say
creationist,
do you mean religious or do you mean creationist?
However you want to. Knowing, acting like you know something, like saying being created is somehow rational, which is totally not. It's not rational because you can't know that.
How do you get?
It's actually quite the opposite.
You can disagree all you want, but I mean, it's irrational to think you know anything.
See, that's what exactly I said. Is there's people who want you to seek truth but never find it. That's irrational.
How do you get something from nothing?
Let me just get this in. Sorry,
we don't know. We've been through this, and clearly, just like Ranty was talking about his flat Earth versus ball Earth, talking about a picture, they see the same picture, but they both have different interpretations of it. It's the same with being created versus evolution or whatever it is. You can't know.
It's very dogmatic that it is evolution.
It's also very dogmatic.
I don't think it's evolution. I think we don't know. I think it's irrational either way.
Boom.
I agree. Just add one thing. You're talking about ontological principles or primitives. Sorry, I get that right before John jumps down my throat. So the ontological primitives are either or. It's either we came from nothing, everything from nothing, or everything from something, which is creation. So it's either everything from nothing or creation. Those are the two ontological primitives.
Well, it's everything from nothing, everything from everything.
No, created.
But we could have been created from something more. We just don't know. That's it.
I don't think we can know. I think this is an exercise in futility.
Right. If nobody can know, then why is one view irrational? That's just a matter of opinion.
It's irrational to think you have the answer. You talk like you have the answers.
Agreed.
You talk like you get the answers from a Bible, from a book, and that's not correct.
You're spouting opinions.
I've listened to you. I've listened to you all the last show.
She's resting on her knowledge. She trusts her knowledge. That's what she does.
And she can trust it all she wants. It doesn't make it right, and she shouldn't act like it is right. She should treat it as an opinion.
You're really confident right now in your opinions. You're doing the same thing you're telling me not to do.
No, you're selling your story as truth, absolute truth.
I'm telling you what my convictions are, which I was invited onto the panel to say.
Right.
But you are presenting it as the truth.
It is her truth.
Do you present flat Earth as a truth, even though you really can't prove it?
No,
yeah, we can.
I don't.
Yeah, we can. No. It's on screen now, Paula. But that's precisely...
He can, but I don't. Even if we can prove it, I don't. I say we don't know what we're on. Because we're nothing. We're ants on an anthill, and that's as far as you'll go.
Right. That's an opinion of yours. I mean,
yes. Well, everything is an opinion, but you talk about it as if what you're spewing is fact, because it's been fairly.
I'm saying, yeah, this is my conviction. That's all I'm saying. People are allowed to have personal convictions and say them. That's just free speech.
Well, during the last episode, everybody else was quiet. It seemed like they were just intent puppies listening, not actually responding.
They were being polite. I'm hardly ever on the show.
Nathan keeps promoting your show as if creation is some kind of real thing, proven thing.
So you don't
No, it's not.
It is.
It's not. How can you say that? Coming from Arwen, you should already know it's BS.
Bollocks.
Prove the Big Bang.
Yes, evolution is BS. Creation is BS. We don't know.
What is the alternative left?
Why do we have to have an alternative? Why do we have to have an alternative?
You can't come from nothing.
How do you know that? How do you know that? You can't know that.
I ask,
whatever created us might have come from nothing. We have no way to figure this out.
Or everything else.
We are created.
Everything else could have come from a higher disorder.
Life on this earth is created.
It could have been created. It could have been created from a higher disorder. It doesn't have to be from nothing.
But
it doesn't have to be that we were created from nothing. It could be that we were created from a higher disorder. Why would I listen to you? I heard you guys said nothing during the last show.
Everyone calm down. Calm down. It's like the after dinner, after Boxing Day dinner, everyone's full of food and angry. Right.
Yeah.
Let's calm down.
Back to me what
I just want to get a couple of words in. I just want to reiterate my point. Sorry, Eric. Hold on 1 second. So, saying it's something coming out of nothing from a higher power is still in line with one of the ontological primitives. That is still a creation, therefore a creator. So that's still, if everything came from nothing from a higher power, that's a creator you're describing. Everything from nothing without the creator, that's everything from nothing. You're still in one of those two ontological primitives.
Well, but the third one would be something coming from everything else. So if you
that's
have
that's still one of them.
If you cannot destroy it,
that's still one of the level of disorder. That still fits into the first category. That's still everything from nothing. If everything came from something else, well, where did the something else from? Well, that either came from a creator or from nothing. You're still always going to work your way back to one of those two choices. In every single instance.
The only thing that makes sense to everybody is either nothing or being created, because we cannot understand something from everything else. But it doesn't mean it isn't so.
But that's my point.
Why are we neglecting the aspect of time? Like, when did it begin? When will it end? Like, both of these theories.
How do we even know time has always existed? Maybe it's only a creation part of this realm.
My God,
so we're talking about us being created, like people being created, right? And if I say it's from everything, it doesn't make us nothing. It just makes us in a different form, because we are everything else. And then it is formed into us. It doesn't mean we came from nothing. It means we came from everything. I'm not saying this is true. I'm saying we don't know.
What are you saying?
I don't think we can know. So sorry to disappoint.
Deep rabbit hole without an end. Nobody knows. Us in the panel, nobody knows on Earth. No live person knows.
That doesn't change the matter of fact, because there is matter and it did come from somewhere. Even if we don't know where it came from, it was either created or exploded.
But the law of thermodynamics states that it cannot be created or destroyed. So how could it have been created?
So that's an immediate violation of the first law of thermodynamics, isn't it? In the same way that we can immediately violate the first law of Newtonian principles of momentum. An object will remain at rest unless acted upon by a force. Well, we know that we can disprove that immediately with a little bit of salt and an egg.
Yes, so we should come from a place of not knowing, because we cannot know. We're only starting out with this. It's like somebody who made a computer. People made computers from tubes in the beginning before transistors. They didn't think there would ever be another way. And all of a sudden we do have these ways. It took a long time to figure it out, but we eventually got there. I think we will get to the point where we may figure out where we came from of sorts, but we're nowhere near there. And a Bible, a book, is not going to get you there. Nothing that has been written is going to get you there, because it's written by man.
In the meantime,
you just made a claim. You back it up. Back it up.
I don't need to back it up.
Yes, you do.
You're a zealot. You're a religious zealot. I don't need to back anything up to you. You're a religious zealot. Whatever, that's fine. I'm going to do ad homs, because we live in a world where we do things like this.
I was asked questions and I answered them. If you don't like it, take it up with me.
You can back into that.
Hang on, wait a minute. So when you come in and you're calling someone a religious zealot, what does that make you?
Right.
What does that make you? Is somebody not allowed to have their own theory on something?
Did he mute him? What happened?
I have no idea.
Don't mute other panel members. Whoever's muted.
I muted you.
Don't mute other panel members.
Oh, somebody muted me. Well, there you go. I was answering, but somebody muted me.
You want to go ahead?
No, I just...
To what? What am I answering? I don't know where I got muted.
I didn't do it.
Well, he asked you what, you...
Ranty asked you if you come in here and accuse somebody of being a religious zealot, what does that make you?
That makes me a person that's coming from a place of not knowing, which is where we should all be, because we cannot know.
But I'm a religious zealot.
Why are you accusing her of being a zealot? What?
Because I listened
How do you justify the zealot aspect?
Because I listened to the entire... Because I listened to the entire last show, and I could hear everybody seemingly listening intently to what she had to say.
You know why?
It seemed like
questions.
How does that make one a zealot?
So you come here and you act like, hey, they called me to be here. I didn't ask to be here. And that's not an answer. You should not act like yes. And especially the last show, you were talking as if they asked me to be here. I am here now.
They did ask me. I was invited. I rarely joined.
Guys, wait a minute. Your hatred sounds like zealotry to me.
I was going to say,
just
give me a sec. You know, when we bring in the conversation to do with Coriolis, right? We know that George will always join the panel. If we bring in the conversation to do with certain topics, certain people will always join the channel. It seems that if we bring up creation over evolution, it seems that Earth Flattener will always join because for some reason it triggers him. My question is, why does it trigger you?
Look, I looked up the word of
Hold on, Arwin. That was
Go ahead,
Arwin, let's get some control.
Sorry.
Look, Anthony's asking.
This is relevant.
Arwin. Anthony's asking Earth Flattener a perfectly reasonable question. At some point, I want to get back to Paula's first question, which kicked all this off, which is, how do you justify your claim that men wrote the Bible? I believe that was what the question was, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I have that question too.
Earth Flattener, answer.
Can you ask the question again?
It seems that you show up every time that creation versus evolution is brought to the topic, and you kind of show up in those moments. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I come in. I start to voice my opinion when people start to act like they know things, but they don't actually know. And the same thing happens with Bigfoot. When people bring up Bigfoot and act like that is real somehow, it is frustrating because when we talk about flat Earth and all these things, Ranty's going out and taking all these beautiful pictures that prove flat Earth, and then all of a sudden people start talking about the Bible as if it's somehow on the same level, even though they're just using a book to prove it. It's annoying.
But why are you challenging it as though you do know the truth?
I'm not challenging it in that way. I'm telling
you are. You're demanding that.
No,
we might not know.
But Flattener, you are coming off a little bit like you're hating a little bit, and you know we cool, so I'm just being real with you. Like,
I don't know, you guys hate me, but I kind of agree with Earth Flattener a lot in like 90% of what he says.
Don't agree with me.
Sorry,
no, I agree with you because we cannot go in
the word
one side to another.
zealot.
Thank you, Arwin, for interrupting me.
The word zealot.
Okay, what would you
hold on, Eric.
Come on, Eric.
Hold on 1 second.
No, what would be a better word?
Eric, hold on a second.
Actions
Hold on,
that are
Eric.
very
Can you go ahead, Darwin?
So how are Paula's views or actions very extreme?
Because if you say that coming from a biblical perspective is rational, that is very irrational to me.
That's a claim that you're making that you can't back up.
How is that extreme? Seriously.
Believing that we were created by some god, something, that's not irrational?
That's your opinion.
Nuts. That is
How does rationality tie in with extremity?
Because
views
we
and
have
actions
the world
that are extreme. How does some illogical thought tie into that? You accused Paula of being a zealot. Okay, that's not a light accusation here.
We live in a world where everything is as we see it, right? And that's why we have the flat Earth. We're not seeing the curve. We see animals, we see people, we see cars, we see all these things. We don't see anything like a god or whatever that created us. So that to me is irrational. And to a lot of people who come from science is irrational.
And I think it's irrational to assume that naturalism is all there is and ever can be just because you don't want to believe that there's supernatural cause that must be outside the laws of physics, or this stuff that's running down could never have existed. It's not
I'm saying we don't know. We may have been created.
Right.
We may have.
You don't know.
I'll get off the panel if
you know, Arwin.
One thing.
I've experienced some very bizarre stuff. Yeah.
You don't have to go. You don't. I'll go. It seems like everybody's enjoying you. So what's the point of me being?
Listen. I'm going to get off the panel. Can I say one thing?
I'm not enjoying it. You know, one thing I'm grateful for is, you know what, and this will probably piss her off, but you know what's really great, and this will make Flatner. The vast majority of human beings on this earth do not follow that Abrahamic, written by man nonsense. Thank God.
Okay, well, I want to clarify why I invited Paula in the first instance. Number one, it's Christmas, you bunch of miserable sods. Number two, Anthony's recently been drawing the parallels between not Aristarchus, Aristotle. Right.
Might as well be
Aristophanes. My bad.
Thanks, PJ.
That's another religion there. Nobody complains
I'm
about.
just
But anyway.
clarifying. So, in terms of, hold on, Eric. Hold on. So, Paula can, and undoubtedly at some point in one of her videos probably has, documented the evidence that brings her to the conclusion to say this person, Jesus Christ, existed. And there's plenty of it. And she's just saying, this is the evidence I am presented with. There's more of it than there is for Aristophanes. And that's one of the subject matters we've discussed recently. So it's not zealotry. She's literally saying, here's the historic documents and the paper trail I've got to lead me to that conclusion. She's not just saying, I believe, and I don't care what you say that disagrees. If someone comes along and challenges the documents that she's researched, I'd want to hear about it.
Okay.
Yeah, but she wouldn't. She wouldn't want to hear about it. She already believes
you
it.
just made a judgment against me. You don't even know me or
I...
what I wouldn't do.
Paula,
See, you're being hypocritical
with certitude.
because
Sorry,
you're
Paula.
making truth claims, and then saying I'm bad for making truth claims. You're doing what you're telling me not to do. You're being a hypocrite.
Plus, the whole point of I know from chatting to Paula that her path has been driven by naysayers, by people saying you are wrong, and her backing her claims with research. So it's not that she's just a zealot. On the contrary, I wouldn't have invited her on if she was.
Well, of course you would have. You invite Condom Replacer, and he's a total zealot.
Well, hey, Earth Flattener.
Seems like that's what the direction this is taking.
Flattener. Why don't you make everybody happy?
Hey.
I think it was a bit of extreme. You know, hey, I'm on your side mostly here. You're a bit extreme. You're definitely full atheist. I'm not, but that's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, you're showing more signs of zealotry than Paula.
Wait,
I'm not full atheist.
I disagree.
I'm just saying we don't know.
Hey, can you come up with a different word than a zealot?
No, I won't. I apologize for calling you a
How
zealot.
about just very dedicated?
Fanatic.
How about just dedicated?
Yes, you're very dedicated.
Right.
I apologize.
Fanatic.
Okay, we're all good. Thank the Lord, Jesus Christ himself.
What Lord? Yes.
Right, I'm not even a Christian. I'm not a Christian, and I respect Paula's research.
Neither am I.
So before I get called
Praise
some fundy,
Helios.
nasty names, this is not my viewpoint, and I still respect Paula's research. It is excellent, and no one will ever deny that if they actually look at what she does. But to just call her a zealot is absolutely outrageous in my view. Anyway, let's move on.
I thought we were all good. What happened?
We're all good. I just wanted to make it clear that Paula and Quantum Eraser, for that matter, are not fundy Christians. You know, people call them that all the time. Generally speaking, unless challenged on their views, they won't even tell you that that's their views. So I don't agree. It's not like the ballers who come here and demand we accept their religious viewpoint about the world that we live in. Paula's more than willing, and has been her entire career in this subject, challenged on what she researches. So from that perspective, it's all about the challenge and the debate. So I don't necessarily agree. It's not comparable. But I just wanted to make that clear, even though I'm not personally directing it again as an attack towards you, Flat on Earth.
Thank you. And I will make my exit so as not to continue triggering. So thanks again for inviting me, Nathan.
One of the best conversations in ages, Paula. I am so grateful. Thank you.
Nice to see you, Paula.
It was.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you.
Pleasure. Pleasure.
Now, is this the moment where Earth Flattener can take a chill pill?
It's good.
Interesting.
It's
I mean,
good.
I like the passion. You know, the passion in subjects is good.
This is what makes the world go round, and if people were to just point their fingers at people that they think have the wrong view, we did it earlier with ballers. These are the bad people, Rumpus and Slice Barcane and blah, blah, blah. Well, no, they're just people, potentially thoroughly indoctrinated, but that doesn't necessarily make them bad, they're just misguided.
There we go. There we go. We have the Pete Shea seal of approval. Paula Knowledge Scavenger was put in place. These characters become nasty when you question them.
Bravo.
I told
Bravo.
you.
She made it.
Nathan,
She's made
making
it.
the world go round, really?
There you go.
I'd rather say making the globe of the heavens turn.
Oh my God.
Ranty's ready.
If you've not been accused of being an agent by Pete Shea, you've not made it in Flat Earth.
Agent Shea.
Yeah, we've all.
This is what makes the world colourful. This is what drives progress. So when you get to the point like we are with the globe heads, absolutely battering them with absolutely cast iron points, then there's nowhere for them to go. And without the debate, without the discussion, without people like Paula and without people like Flat and Earth, the conversation would go nowhere and you would end up with zealots. That's where it goes. And that's what the position we're currently faced with the globe Earth. Zealots. telling us this is what you must believe. Well, let's see your evidence for it. Well, there isn't any. Well, why would I want to believe it? You must. Science says.
It's reading in the 1910 book of whatever, whatever. Believe it, it's in the book. No, not really.
Rant is up.
Yeah, you wanted me to put this video on, Nathan?
I'll believe it when I'll see the truth of it.
So there's quite a few interesting things that are going on. I hope I'm not stealing thunder, just say if I am ranty, but this morning we were watching our way through this video, and essentially as I think it's a tidal bore that comes in, basically the water level rises, and it's, in my view, I'll be cast down if somebody says different, it's fine, but in my view that is limiting the angle to the bottom of the buildings in the distance. As the water rises, it makes logical sense that that's going to limit the angle of view, right? Well, what happens as a consequence of that is that you see less and less of the buildings as the water rises, and that's proven out by some birds that fly right near that limited angle of view and go into what I call the diffraction limit. Now, this is well documented in terms of the effect that happens at the diffraction limit. You get what you see, an inferior mirage below it. It splits in half, mirrors itself below, and then if the angle becomes any more acute, it disappears completely. So it mirrors, then disappears at that diffraction limit. And this is nice evidence to show that we're not seeing the curve of the Earth obscuring the bottom of these buildings when the water rises. The angle of view is being limited, and as an effect, you're losing the bottoms of the buildings to that diffraction limit. There is too limited of an angle to see the bottoms of the buildings as the water rises. There you go, there's one of the birds. Cool, you take over, Auntie. You can probably detail it better than I can anyway.
Well, yeah, just throughout the video, I've been through it this morning, and I was noting all the different anomalies that happened during the video. I've actually pinned it as a comment. Here we have two birds that fly through. You actually see the reflection off the inferior mirage, which is quite astounding. You'll see as they fly through, you'll see their reflection in the inferior mirage, which is pretty cool. A bit further on, I think around about, is it 7 minutes and 3? We see a boat going through these. I used to call them fake waves. I'm still going to call them fake waves because I haven't decided what they are yet. Whether it's an inferior mirage or a fata brumosa, it's one or the other. But the boat itself is pushing through those waves, and it's you can clearly tell that the waves that you actually see aren't the actual, total height of the water. That they're increasing the height of the water somehow.
He's right on the edge beyond the optical slant.
I was going to introduce your view on this, Arwin. Exactly. The optical slant that Arwin describes is a nice way of describing this, because the water level's rising, causing that point that the optical slant, as Arwin describes it, end, to be closer to you. And the angle's limited, the stuff above starts miraging as it reaches the diffraction limit. We've got this pegged as far as I'm concerned. We can describe exactly what's happening.
Yeah. And, well, if you pay attention to these videos, I'm just going to, these buildings in the background, I'll just speed it up, and you can see how they start to just disappear.
As the water raises. And the water, you can see, as you scrub, is going higher.
Yeah, the tide is coming in, but the inferior mirage stays a constant height above the perceived waterline throughout the whole video. So if I go back to the very beginning, you'll see where the inferior mirage starts here and it's a certain height above the water. And then as I scroll through the video, you'll see that the inferior mirage goes higher and higher. It takes off more of the mountain as we go further up. And then back towards the back end, there's a lot of crazy things that go on towards the back end. You see birds flying in and out of the inferior mirage, literally fly into the inferior mirage. You can see all this crazy effects going on above the water. Which is either part of the inferior mirage hiding out the water or part of the water reflecting upwards as a fata brumosa. I don't know which one it is, I'll be honest. But one thing that does happen is a boat right at this moment is passing in front of your eyes. Between me and those buildings now, there's a boat that's passing, and it's a tanker. It's a big boat. It's one of these cargo boats that's heading to Haitian, and we don't see it. Even though where I'm looking right now and filming, the boat is literally somewhere in this region here, but it's hidden behind the inferior mirage. And I've uploaded that video today because I was quite taken aback. The fact that I was filming this and couldn't see it, didn't even know it was there until I got to the top of the stairs and then looked back and saw this tank, and I went, where's that come from? Started filming it.
This reminds me, you might be a bit before your time in Flat Earth, Ranty, but it may be 18 months, 2 years ago. Red Rhetoric released a video of a boat going over the curve of the Earth, and Jaren absolutely ripped it a new one. But one of the things in that video that was truly fascinating was the same as you've caught in this, with the birds flying in and out of the diffraction limit, that limited angle of view, and vanishing and then coming back again and then being miraged underneath themselves right at that little angle, that tightest of angle, where you can't see things because it's too tight to see a thing. Hey, Effie Equilibrium.
Hey, Earth Flattener. Hi.
Good to have you back.
So if anyone wants to check all the different things that are going on in the video, I've pinned a comment to the top of this video. I think it's called the time-lapse video. It was a video I uploaded a couple of days ago. There's little timestamps on different things that show different effects of things happening. You know, obviously the bird flying in and out of the inferior mirage, all this kind of stuff. And it's all captured in the one time-lapse video, which is pretty awesome.
Absolutely awesome. Hey, P, you're going to behave this time.
Bye, P. So,
do you want to see the other video?
Yes, please.
So this is the video I've uploaded today, and I literally packed it. So I'd finished the time lapse and ran up to the top of the stairs. It was absolutely freezing. It was half a degree above zero. I'd full of the flu. I'd done the time lapse for nearly 50 minutes, and I was freezing my nuts off. So I ran straight to the car, threw everything in, and I saw that boat. So of course I had to get back out of the car again and start filming it, because I couldn't believe that this boat, as you can see, where it's traveling from left to right, meant that it must have passed in front of those buildings as I was doing that time lapse. And I was absolutely, holy, how did that entire boat make its way across the channel here and avoid me seeing it? Obviously it must have been hidden behind the inferior mirage, and I basically go up and down the steps, and I basically stroll in.
It was gravity.
There's the boat. There's the boat. Where's it gone? I mean, there it is. There's what remains of it. You're just seeing the top of it there, and it's just reflected down, and all this inferior mirage is hiding the rest of the boat behind it. Just absolutely crazy. And the distance to it's only 7.1 miles. At this point, it's already past the entrance into Barrow and Furness. So it must have been going to Haitian. And if I go onto Google Earth, I can show you the maps that show all the shipping lanes. So obviously, if it's going into Barrow and Furness, which would be up here, it has a shipping lane here to avoid all the sandbanks and stuff. So it goes in that way. But
Ranty, can you do us a favour?
What?
Just get that picture back on screen where you've got the boat, the one that you had on just before, where it was showing the obstruction. The reason why I want you to do it is I want you to give Conspiracy Cats a good thumbnail for his next video where he claims Ranty proves flat ball Earth, because that's what seems to be what's happening now. They all seem to be claiming that Ranty proves ball Earth. So let's just give him a nice clear thumbnail for him to use.
Okay, well I'll do that in a sec. I'll just show you the shipping lanes. In the video, we actually see these wind turbines in the background. I've marked them all off here, which proves that the boat would have been in this shipping lane heading towards Haitian, which is here. So I've triangulated its position to here, which is essentially 7.1 miles away. So from an elevation at the top on this video, which is about 30 feet. So from the top here, and I'm looking at this massive inferior mirage, I'm looking down on this boat, only 7.1 miles away, and I'm about 30 feet above this boat. I should have no problem seeing all of this boat. It shouldn't be an issue. But the fact that we've got this massive inferior mirage that's hiding all of the bottom of it and causing this mirroring effect proves that it's atmospheric. There's an atmospheric issue going on here as to why we don't see the bottom of the boat. It's not through Earth curve. And when I actually come down and I go down to the bottom part here, did you want a screenshot of this?
Can I ask a really big favour, Auntie?
Yeah.
Can you start calling it an optical effect as opposed to an atmospheric effect? It is atmospheric in the respect that the water's rising and that's limiting the angle, in my opinion. But I just think it's not atmospheric. If it was atmospheric, it would be just blocking your view because you couldn't see through the atmosphere.
Well, I think on good days, clear days, I've filmed so many times. I mean, for instance, you've seen it yourself where I've got the boat heading into Heysham again, and it passes in front of the clock tower. And it's on one of your thumbnails that you show quite a lot on the debates. You've talked about it quite often. And in that case, we're actually seeing all of the boat. So we would see the front of the boat, and you see where it's actually cresting through the waves. So obviously on that day, the clarity of the whatever we were seeing was much better. It wasn't down to the narrowing of the viewing angle. So I would disagree in that respect.
Fair enough, you're yet to be convinced. See, I buy into your explanation about tidal bores and say, well, that would raise the level of the water and therefore limit the angle. But, you know, for that I will agree to disagree, because I know you maintain that it's atmospheric, and I don't agree. But there we go, we've had this conversation for about 3 months, so it's not like we're going to fall out about it on the show.
No.
Can I give a good shout out to someone?
Do you have to?
I don't know if anybody saw Gav on Dell's show last night, but Gav came in and he gave a really good description of how the eye works relative to like distant objects. And he gave some examples where certain things happen at certain distances. And if you didn't catch it on Dell's show, go and watch it, because some of the points he makes to do with the way the eye and the vision actually work would explain specifically how things like the claim of curvature is actually somewhat to do with the way that the eye works. And they're claiming it's curved. And obviously the Earth can't be curved, because if it was curved, we'd all see it everywhere. But what we do see is these things, these phenomena, these opticals, these whatever this word is. And it's often caused by the circumstances at the time relative to your eye, your own eye that's causing it. So check that out. That was worth watching.
Cool. Yeah, shout out to Gav on Beyond the Imaginary Curve. So my apologies, as I've dropped about a couple of 100 frames just then. So if you are getting buffering, in that case, it is actually my fault.
Well, here's a really good proof that they're actually passing past these wind turbines in the distance, proving it's passed through Barrow, which can only place it in one position, which is these shipping lanes here heading into Heysham. So that's how I was able to triangulate a 7.1. I've given it the furthest shipping lane, which is this one. I mean, it's quite possible it could have used this shipping lane here. But if I go to 7.1 miles away, basically, like I'm saying, I should see all of this boat, and I don't. Look at this. Wow. Look at this. Does that even look like a boat?
This is where Jose should be interrupting, because you can agree with this, Jose, right?
Zone. You can
How far are the wind turbines run to?
Oh, they're a good bit further away. Hang on, let's have a.
All right,
man, your Welsh really came out then, Warren. That was Warren, wasn't it?
Sorry,
was that you speaking, Warren?
Which bit? Asking how far the wind turbines are.
Oh, yeah. 23 miles away, 23, 24 miles away. A good way.
So Globers would say that the boat is disappearing behind the curve, but the wind turbines, which are 3 times further, you can see them still.
Yeah, they are on a hill though as well. They're not in the water, but
yeah, but I've been getting these effects most of the time that I go out to do observations. And
like
yeah,
an invisible boat. It's an invisible
you seem
boat,
to lose. Yeah, you seem to lose the bottom
half
of the boat.
is missing.
But they be hovering,
completely obscured
hovering over the apparent horizon. Yeah, good stuff.
That's curvature.
Yeah, I can just imagine Tim Osborne asking, "Where's the bottom of the boat?" And we're saying, "Yeah, it's being reflected, Tim." And he's like, "Where's the bottom of the boat?" And then zooming out so you can't see the reflection and being all sneaky-handed.
And look at the small. Is that like a canoe? Are those like little canoes in front of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in the foreground. All right.
And basically, I go back up to the top again. So I come up to the top, and so again, I'm looking at this boat 7.1 miles away from an elevation of 30 feet. Should be no issue with curve at this distance. I should see all of the boat, and I don't. I get a massive inferior mirage, but basically at the midsection of the boat.
Looks like a giant spaceship.
Looks like it's got teeth. A head of a dog with teeth at the back.
You inspire me to upload a bunch of videos I got like this. And I just living in the site, not uploading
it's a spaceship riding the curve.
Well, I'll be honest, when I first started filming this stuff, I didn't know what to make of it. And when I was presenting it on Nathan's a year ago, people were saying that's where the curve is. That's where the curve is. And now I have no problem actually filming this stuff and showing it because we understand it so much. So, Jose, I wouldn't have any fears with you releasing stuff like this because it's absolute proof that it's not going over the curve. It's actually the blockage is not caused by Earth curve.
Ranty, can you just repeat that? I'm sorry to get you to do it, but say what you said to Jose a second ago. I'm dropping a few frames for some reason.
Yeah, I just said that you should have no fears in releasing any video that show this atmospheric effect. Simply because it isn't proof of Earth curve. It's not at all. It's proof of blockage, but it's not proof of Earth curve.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
Where's your
I have a lot of footage like this, and I mean I find some good stuff like the reflection of the letters underneath, and I find some really awkward stuff. But I got a lot of footage in between, 2 and 3 minutes videos, a bunch of them with all this effect going on, and both in different distances away. You know, one closer, one further, and you can see the mirage in different high-end positions. So I'm going to be uploading some of this, yeah.
It's in tasked in front of my view, in front of my line of sight. This is the only reason I filmed this boat was because when I was doing the time lapse and it passed in front of these buildings over here on the left, I was actually filming those constantly for 50 minutes, and that boat must have passed in front of those buildings. I never saw it. The camera never picked it up. The entire boat sneaked in. I've called it sneak boat because it sneaked under the radar or under the inferior mirage and was able to bypass my camera and my eyesight and get into this estuary, this lane here. It got in there without me seeing it. And that's why I filmed it, because I was so gobsmacked with it.
And just a quick disclaimer, I put flat earth in front of most of the titles of my videos because, I mean, I'm a YouTuber and this is the subject that I'm interested in, flat earth. It doesn't have probably anything to do with proving or disproving flat earth or ball earth, but I'm going to put flat earth and then both whatever, you know, the title of the video. So if you say like, oh, you put flat earth, this doesn't prove flat earth. I'm not trying to prove flat earth or ball earth. I'm just putting that for people that is not subscribed to my channel. Come to the video, not as a clickbait, but as a analyzing the optical effects that are going on in the distance.
Oh yeah, we have to understand, and that this is what the Globers don't do. They stick to a narrative. They see that that video where the boat's pushed over the little cartoon thing that this guy's made up in his backyard. He just pushes the boat over and it goes. And the Globers believe that's what you should see. You should see a boat go just like that with no atmospheric distortion whatsoever. The boat should just go over and drop down. That's what they think. You know, hopefully this is educating them that it's not quite as easy as that.
Waiting for Anthony to say any obstruction is Earth curve. My apologies to those in the audience that the choppy feed is taking effect.
Yeah, I think it's because I'm playing it in 4K, so it's
no, it's actually my end. I'm dropping frames right now, so this is going out a bit choppy to the audience, unfortunately. 1% of the entire hangout is choppy, but life's hard, and I'm afraid I can't do anything about it. Till the show's over. We didn't have 10 minutes left. I'd be refreshing my VPN and things, but I'm not going to, as we've only got 10 minutes left. So,
Ranty, do us a favour, screen share again and put that picture up for you know that picture of the boat with that was going over the curve. Conspiracy Cats is in chat. Let's give him a nice thumbnail so that he can claim that Ranty's proved ball Earth again.
Right? Okay.
Any of them that appear to show what he would interpret to be curvature of the Earth. Just stick it on screen as an homage to Conspiracy Cats because he thinks that Ranty proves sphere Earth. I've never known anybody misrepresent anything as much in my life.
I tell you what, he can watch the video. He can watch it back on Nathan's and get it from there, or he can go to my channel and he can watch it and take a screenshot there.
I'll tell you what, Ranty, stick a link in the side chat and I'll put it in the chat so people who may not be subscribed to you already will go and subscribe to you immediately.
Excellent.
Yeah, Seven says that Nathan will now run because Cats is here. See anybody running?
I can't go anywhere.
In fact, if anybody wants to drop just so that we leave an open space for conspiracy cats to join, he can tell us all about that gas pressure.
Or maybe he can tell us why he keeps misrepresenting stuff.
Okay, so this is Ranty's video.
Isn't soundly disingenuous in the first place?
That's his channel.
And then Conspiracy Cats is jumping in as a bandwagon fallacy with the curve.
I'm not sure what his game is. I don't understand where he comes from. Can't do geometry, can't do simple maths, can't do curve, can't do drop. Doesn't understand that if you're a mile above the center of the Earth in Denver, that means that your actual Earth radius is not the same radius that we've got when you're at the sea. You have to make that adjustment because it happens to be a mile. And what do you know? That whole mountain falls into that drop when you do it. Bit of a bummer, isn't it? And conspiracy cats can't get past it.
Or is it just the sexiness of the word saying there's distance of a inferior mirage or the looming effect, or is it the diffraction? Does it sound that they want to say it? I don't know, but pretty much it is plain and simple, and we really don't need to say those things, nor even to use the math based on perspective itself. You just blend the two. It doesn't correlate, or actually there's pretty much more of a big contrast of the two. But again, if they want to perceive the reality of a ball going down or somewhat of an arc from Ranty's, you would really need to actually, you're selling yourself on the math or actually on whatever indoctrination that they're in, because it in reality, or anybody else, if you were to show this, or actually not even show it, but to explain it, the paper moon or the paper curve, people are pretty much going to think that they're crazy, because people are waking up and seeing things in the maths and the language. So that's what I want to say.
Thanks for joining, by the way, Physics Warrior. I forgot to actually introduce you. My bad.
No worries, Nathan. Good to hear you. Good to hear everybody else on the panel.
Yeah, let's all scratch each other's backs and say we're great.
Kumbaya.
Kumbaya.
Physics, what's up, man?
Hold each other's willies is a much better phrase.
Can we try and promote Arwen a little bit and get him up to 1,000 subscribers?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I think Arwen deserves to get 1,000 subscribers. If he's going to do a daily show every day and he's going to put an hour's worth of work in, and people can go over just like Nathan's, he needs 1,000 subs.
Arwen, where are you at right now with your subs?
Sorry?
Where are you at right now with your subs?
811.
So you could need a 190 push. I think you could do it within this week. Yeah, I mean, I'll push it out, Arwen. Definitely, I'll tell
Give
all
us
my
a link.
guys.
Give us a link so people in the chat can go and subscribe now. If you give us a link, Arwen, I'll stick it in the chat.
Let's get that $1,000 bar.
Right. Yeah, so my channel is Arwin, ARWIJN.
And you're famous because you do what?
What?
Right,
Famous?
All right, you know what? Plug your show.
Yeah, I know. I have a Flat Earth Early Bird show every day, 1 hour before the debates on my channel. I use OBS these days, although I haven't perfected it yet, but I'm well on my way. I do have guests. I have a pretty open chat. And yeah, come and visit me and perhaps join me. And I'll see you in the next Flat Earth Early Bird show. I hope.
What's it called in church when they pass around the money basket and everyone gives their tithe? What's that basket called? Because I want to just shout out John Watson before he said instead of saying smash the super chat, he said smash the something. I can't remember what the word was he used, but it was really funny. He said smash the donations tray or something like that, and then he corrected it and said to super chat. Made me laugh.
I posted 2 pictures in Skype chat if somebody want to present them. This is the same, taking a picture of the same observation. Maybe it's a little bit of a different zoom, but it's the same height, just in 2 hours difference in the day. I took the pictures once I got to the spot earlier, and then I took it like a few hours later before I went home. Somebody want to present them, and you're going to see the effect of the optical effect that takes place in just a few hours. I'm losing a lot of structures in the bottom of the image in the same height, and it's really cool to look at.
Go on now, when
Is
you
the
can
word
share.
tithe? Sleeping Warrior.
Tithe. Yeah, but John Watson gave it a different word. I can't remember what the word was he used for it, but he said smash the donations tin or something like that in the context of because it was all religious at that time and people got triggered. I just thought it was funny. It was an icebreaker.
Can we give a shout out to Sleeping Warrior as well? Try and get him over 100 subs. You want to plug your channel, Nate? Sleeping Warrior.
Over 100 subs.
You said 100 subs.
Nah, I don't need shout-outs.
That took a while for it to get through.
Everybody knows who I am. I don't need shout-outs.
Arwin, you going to present my 2 pictures, please?
Who was that speaking?
Hold on. Yeah, sure.
Who said that everyone knows who I am?
Me.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
There you go. This was earlier in the morning, maybe I say 10:30, 11 in the morning, and then the next picture, it was taken maybe 2 hours later, maybe around 1 p.m. And it's the same spot I took a picture, and look at the difference. Look at the mirage that is going on here. In the next one, it's a lot clearer, and you can see a lot of the structure.
It's the same. It's taken from the same height.
Yeah, maybe with different focal, maybe different zoom.
Yeah, this one seems to be zoomed in a little bit more.
Yeah, I took and then I took screenshots. So it's different zoom in this. I mean, two different videos and different zooms. So I cropped it. I just took a screenshot and cropped it closer enough to show the same area. So yeah, this is the things that I have to repeat and then do it with the same amount of zoom and exactly in the same spot. So it's anything can be say like, oh, you different heights or whatever, but I'm just presenting it. It is what it is,
The realities of our world, and the globers don't understand it. They think that they think that the world should be found out in a book rather than going out and actually doing real research. Very sad.
Indeed.
Yeah, and I posted maybe it was like a 9 minutes video a few days ago. And I got a bunch of messages, on the comment section, like, oh, you just proved the globe. And look at the difference between this time and this timestamp, the high observation versus the low observation. And yes, you can see more obstruction, the lower observation, but it is what it is. It is an observation. I just put the video out there and I let you guys analyze it. All welcome to take the differences and share.
Jose, there's Soundly Killer. Your observation of those strange
Slayer
Gonzalez.
Yeah, Jose JG, Soundless Slayer Gonzalez. But the difference is we're trying to figure out what this is, as opposed to presupposing an Earth radius and putting it into a begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculator. That's the main difference.
Yeah, not cherry picking, not staying in one spot observation to stack images and make it look all sharp. Me personally, I just take observations and then just present it. I don't gonna be cherry picking too much on what I'm gonna present. I'm gonna videotape and record everything and then present it all.
You notice that's the default now, is to say all you guys are doing is just proving the globe.
Yeah.
That's the default position now.
Because they've got nothing else to respond with.
I know. It's pretty sad.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. Smash that dislike button, but then smash it again. But if you liked it, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you have not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!